Hey guys, welcome back for episode 2. Really excited about this episode because we got quite a few Q&As coming through that I'd like to, address. I think they're really good questions, so let's jump into it. The first one here looks like it was from a medical dosimetry student, but it goes by the name of Thomas. Was just asking, hey Justin, what are the realistic expectations of a new grad dosimetrist coming into your group, or really coming into the field? So that's a great question. I think as a new grad coming into the field, you have to also have your own set of expectations. Not every new grad is going to know it all, and that's okay. But what every new grad should be comfortable with is their knowledge of dosimetry. So at least at the university that I'm helping teach, we're building a good foundation, and I will say all of the programs out there, they teach the information. It's up to the student to take in that information and be able to replicate that in the treatment plan. So, at the end of the day, as a new grad student, have the confidence of what you were taught, right, and what you learned, and then just put that forth in the treatment plan. Know that, let's go over the scenario where maybe you are a new grad and they're hiring you in as a solo dosi. One question that I would ask that hiring clinic is, where's my support group? What kind of support will I have? Right? Because I wouldn't expect a new grad to know how to plan everything A through Z. Right? I would expect there to be a little bit of a learning curve, right? But the foundation should be there. So that's the most important part. Again, let's say that you have a great support group. Maybe you have, in my scenario, I'm a solo dosimetrist at a clinic. We do have other dosimetrists helping fill in if workload gets a little higher. But at the end of the day, I have access to multiple dosimetrists and multiple physicists across a lot of clinics. So in my scenario, it works really great, right? I was a new grad supporting clinic on my own. I was set up for success, right? I was able to learn things very quickly, which I think is great. But at the end of the day, I had a very strong core knowledge set, right? I knew what was expected. I knew the radiation physics behind the plans. I knew what was possible, right? So as far as approaching something I didn't know how to do, whether it was a treatment site that I haven't worked with yet, down to its core, it comes down to the radiation physics that you learned in school. So apply that across all of the techniques, across all of the body sites, and you're not going to have a problem. And when it comes to optimizing, the optimizer will do what it's told, and it will put dose where you tell it to put it. So as long as you have those planning techniques, the opti structures, the correct foundation to control that dose, apply that across every body site. It's not very different. So what I would say to you, Thomas, is, again, have that confidence that you know what you're doing, and make sure you have that support system if you do need to reach out. And if you don't, you have me, you have your classmates, you have every instructor that you've been in contact with. It doesn't need to be the clinic that you're at. There is a dosimetry community out there that will help anyone that's in need. Next one we'll go to here was from Jessica. Looks like another student. Let's see, it says, hi Justin, what are the true benefits of using 5 arcs on areas like head and neck, whole brain hippocampal sparing? Yes, I would advocate for that. Sometimes pelvis cases. Are there any statistical benefits worth the extra treatment time for the patient? This is a 2-part question here. To just talk about the arc situation, so let's just talk about head and neck. If it's unilateral, one side, 2 arcs all day long, 2 partial arcs. So something from maybe just past 0 degrees, whether it's 30 or 345, 330, and then arcing down to 179, 181, right? Whichever side it's on. So 2 partial arcs in a unilateral head and neck case, I think, is totally reasonable, depending on if it's single dose level, 2 dose level, 3 dose level SIB case. You can maybe argue, and the size. Size is definitely a factor in your arc selection, right? How many arcs you use. In general, head and necks, you're not going to have a field that goes past 40 cm, sup inf. So I don't really see the need to use more than 2 arcs on like a unilateral case. Now let's say head and neck bilateral. Let's say it's the worst possible scenario. It's a large head and neck case, bilateral, 3 dose levels SIB. In those cases, I'm probably going to do 3 arcs, probably 3 full arcs, centered in the center of that ISO in the center of that PTV. I'm going to do some sort of flip-flop technique where it's 15, 345, and a 90. That 90 focused on the high dose portion, or typically your tumor volume for that low dose volume near the trachea is going to be some sort of like a U shape. And physicians like to see that low dose carved out near the trachea, so that 90-degree focused on the bottom half. And if you can include the high dose area in it and maintain your 15 cm jaw max, if you're using a Varian 120 Millennium Leaf collimator, MLC, then you should be fine. But when it comes to arc selection and how many, it's going to come down to your machine limitations, size of PTV, and what you're given, right? So I don't think I would ever need to use 5 arcs on that sort of case. Probably 3 arcs max, 4 arcs. If we were asking something really crazy, like sparing both submandibulars that were partially covered by the PTV, let's say, right? We might need to do something a little more fancy there. So maybe that additional arc on the 3-arc plan, making it a 4-arc case, could be argued. But there's no real answer on this, right? If your clinic's used to doing 5 arcs and that's what they're used to, I'm not telling you to go change your workflow and change what people are used to, but I will tell you what's efficient and effective. And that's my opinion. That's what I would say for that scenario.